Bossa Nova Guitar Primer. In this series of lessons, I'm going to take you from knowing little or nothing about Bossa Nova guitar and how to play rhythm guitar specifically, to being able to accompany a singer or instrumentalist or play in a band that's playing some Bossa Nova standards. We're going to focus on one primary rhythm, which is sort of the bedrock of the Bossa Nova, and you can then take that and vary it in different ways as you gain comfort with the rhythm. To start off though, because this is a primer, we're going to just talk about some basic mechanics and try to develop a good foundation, assuming you've never played fingerstyle guitar before. Now this is primarily a fingerstyle guitar style of music, and traditionally played on nylon, although you can play it on any kind of guitar you want. I'm using a classical guitar today, and I like that sound for Bossa Nova, but I sometimes do grab an electric or a semi-hollow or hollow body and play Bossa Nova if that is just sort of what's handy or what I have on the gig. To start off, I want to talk a little bit about the bedrock rhythmic foundation for Bossa Nova guitar, and that is the bass. Traditionally, it's kind of derived from a bass drum called the surdo in Brazil, which is part of the carnival. And the bass drum hits on 1 and 2, and you would be feeling it as a quarter note. And so it might sound like this by itself. Now if we put the foundational Bossa Nova rhythm along with it, it would sound like this. Clave or tambon rhythm, which is, and the bass is doing this. Now if we sort of slow that down and we transition that into 4/4, we'll make the bass notes half notes, and it'll be like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So sometimes the bass alternates from 1 to 5. That could be like this. If you're on a D chord, it could sound like this. Ta, 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 ta. Okay, and so that rhythm, that is. So in the notation of this course, I have notated out initially the rhythm in 2/4 or cut time, and then the beginning exercises I've notated in 4/4 time, with half notes representing the bass and quarter notes and eighth notes representing the Brazilian rhythm, or the clave rhythm that kind of hovers above and syncopates everything real nicely. I did that because I think that it's a little bit easier to see and visualize the rhythms using half notes and quarter notes and eighth notes rather than quarter notes and 16th notes. And so it's just sort of to try to help you understand what's going on. Now, having said all that and introduced you to the basic foundational rhythm we're going to be learning, let's talk about chords and harmony a little bit. There are some really crucial voicings for guitars that are super common in Bossa Nova and really lend itself well to the sound on the guitar specifically. And so we're going to learn the most important ones of those. To start off, it's going to be this chord here. Now this is an A minor 6 chord, and you can choose to play just the root 6th and the minor 3rd if you want, or you can add that 5th on top. Okay, so let's do whole notes for the minor 6 chord. We're going to hold that top part out, and we're going to play that bass part hitting on 1 and 3 because we're playing in 4/4 time. Now the purpose of this is to help you develop your right hand. So the thumb is responsible for playing those bass notes, index, middle, and ring finger are going to be responsible for playing the other notes on the upper structure of the chord. So it's going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now let's go ahead and slide that down a half step for the sake of the chord progression. Now this is the same chord shape as you can see, and it's going to be an A flat minor 6. So let's go ahead and play that. 1, 2, ready, play. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Your next chord is going to be a G major 6th. And on all these, you can feel free to leave the 5th off if you want. That's totally up to you. Kind of a matter of taste and what the situation might call for, but it sounds nice like this, a stripped down voicing with that little less bright sound with that 5th off. Okay, so this is going to be a G major 6 chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next was going to be a B minor 7. So it's going to be just a pretty standard B minor bar chord. You probably already know it. If you don't, you bar across with the first finger. Ring finger goes on F sharp. Middle finger goes on D natural. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now again, this is not a bossa nova rhythm in any way, shape, or form. This is just to get that thumb moving. Next thing we're going to do is play quarter notes on the top and half notes on the bottom. Okay, that's going to sound like this. Using that chord progression, we're going to descend to that B minor. 1, 2, ready, play. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nova rhythm. And again, that rhythm is ta, 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 ta. Let's practice it with just the bass. Try doing ta on the rhythm. Okay, so it'll be like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ta, 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 ta. Okay. Now let's go ahead and try out the chords. Upper structure alone. We're going to separate this out. So we're going to only play this part of the chord. Alright? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Visualizing that bass line, the rhythm section. Now that we've introduced those chords and the basic Bossa Nova rhythm, let's add a few more chords to the mix. We're going to go ahead and take a look at D9. That's going to be one of the new chords. It's going to go to D flat 9, to C major 7 add 9, let's go ahead and try that Bossa Nova rhythm with these chords. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I mentioned earlier that the bass may alternate like this. Let's go ahead and try that out with this chord progression. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now let's go ahead and add another chord progression on. Let's go ahead and take a look at 2-5-1 in C major. So 2 chord, it's going to be D minor 9, voiced like this. You could also voice it like this. That's going to be the minor 9, and it's going to just be D minor 7. Going to G13, going to C6 add 9, or C6 9. Okay, let's try that out with the basic Bossa Nova rhythm. Let's alternate the bass. I didn't alternate the bass on G. That's because it's impractical. There's no low D on a traditional guitar, and it doesn't really work to go like this, because you need to hear the chord ringing out. Now you could do this. That's certainly an option. Okay, now that we've covered some different common chord progressions and chord moves, let's go ahead and talk about a rhythmic variation. So that's going to be variation through anticipation is what I like to call it. And oftentimes, to get a really nice authentic Bossa Nova feel and flow and rhythmic syncopation, the chord, upper structure of the chord needs to anticipate the chord by a half beat, if you're in 4/4 time, by an eighth note. And often melodies do this. They'll start a little bit before, you know, kind of over the bar line, and so the harmony will do that as well. The bass still stays on 1 and on 3 if you're in 4/4, or 1 and 1 if you're in cut time, or 2/2. So here's what that might sound like. Now let's take one of our progressions and do that again. Let's start with the first one that goes down. Okay, I'm going to slow it down a bit. So we just placed it there at the beginning. Did you catch it? So this, we're shifting to the next chord early, and then the bass note follows. And that's a really cool thing that is super important in Bossa Nova music. Even if you're sitting on the same chord, it's super cool to anticipate the rhythmic feel of the chord, but maintain that steady 2 feel in the bass. So we're suspending the chord over the bar line at the end of the bar. chords I want to talk about are going to be the diminished chord. Let's take A flat diminished as an example, and the dominant 7 flat 9 chord. So let's take the diminished chord as an example in a progression and just use it as a passing chord between A and G6. Now let's go ahead and take it as passing, going downwards. Let's see how that sounds. D minor, D flat diminished to C major 7. In my opinion, it sounds a little better using it in this position, but that's still a valid option as well. Now let's take a look at that D minor 9 chord. That's going to be another really useful chord. I'm going to throw a bonus in there, the minor 7 flat 5. So you might practice that one like this. The basic rhythm going from 1 to flat 5. Remember, it's a flat 5 chord, so you can't go like this. That doesn't work. You have to go. Which leads really nicely down to the 5 and resolves nicely to 1 if you're going in that direction. So an example of that might be the way I play the intro to meditation. And that last chord there could be another bonus. Dominant 7 sharp 5. It's going to be a useful chord for you. Alright, and that's the conclusion of our Bossa Nova guitar primer. I hope you enjoyed it. Definitely, if you have any questions or you feel like you want to explore it further, feel free to send me an email. I'll be looking forward to hearing from you. And until next time, happy playing.